Following a playoff heartbreak in the second round, the Clippers knew they had to make a stylistic adjustment this season. It came in the form of a new head coach in Ty Lue, someone that modernizes their offense a bit more, and in the form of a multifaceted center in Serge Ibaka, who now gives them a full game's worth of stellar rim protection and more room to operate due to an outside threat. After watching the Lakers receive their championship rings, the Clippers were able to thrive offensively behind Paul George's huge night. But his performance wasn't the only takeaway from the opener. Let's take a dive into the film to see what stood out. First of all, it's pretty strange the Clippers were able to generate the most wide open threes, the most important type of shot in the game today, among the 4 teams that played on Tuesday, especially since they don't have a pure point guard, which is a horrifying concept if you read the ridiculous takes on Twitter long enough. Oh, and wait a minute, they passed the ball the most on opening night too. It was only one game, but for Ty Lue's first night to feature 43 more passes than the Clippers averaged last season, 271, it was a step in the right direction. Their first set of the night showed a glimpse of Ibaka's importance for their half-court offense right away, and he didn't even take a shot. Davis starts on PG, Gasol on Ibaka, and Schroeder on Beverly, who's in the strong corner. Beverly comes up to get the dribble handoff, which flows directly into ball screen action with Ibaka. Schroeder sticks with him, but there is a visible runway for Beverly to get into the paint. With Ibaka popping to the wing instead of rolling, it prevents Gasol from stepping all the way over and helping Schroeder. That is one of Ibaka's best spots on the floor, and Gasol knows that. The space helped Beverly get a layup window. This next possession is just a byproduct of good decisions following a soft double on the baseline and patience. Yes, Kawhi missed the chance to hit Ibaka in the middle once Gasol tagged and stepped up to the perimeter. But George making himself available on the right wing forced Gasol to rotate, and it unraveled from there. George attacks the inside foot, protects the ball, and hits Batum in the left corner. Schroeder tries to rotate across the court, but it's an open shot that Batum is trusted to hit. At the start of this possession, you can see Kawhi trying to get Schroeder switched onto him by having Beverly as the screener. Schroeder does a good job of showing and recovering, and it's up to Kawhi to make something happen against a monster defender. The spacing of Ibaka is huge right here, and it gives Kawhi an outlet once he attacks the middle. After 2 strong dribbles and a gather to get Gasol fully in the paint, Kawhi hits Ibaka on the money for an open 3. Just in the first half alone, Ibaka was illustrating the offensive components that Zubac and Trez just couldn't give them within the starting unit. This is a very simple screen and roll action between George and Ibaka, but a quick aside, PG's playmaking out of ball screens has really taken a leap in his last 2 seasons. As you see here, if Ibaka makes strong contact on these screens, he's going to have room to shoot these mid-rangers once his defender steps in front of PG for a split second. And with the help it attracted from LeBron, these sets could unlock more open 3s as you see Beverly in the weak side corner. One thing that was evident throughout the night is how often the Clippers were making an effort to attack Montrezl Harrell in the paint. They continuously put pressure on him to stop drives or help in the right places. What we just saw was a set that Ty Lue is trying to use more of, which is getting Kawhi on the move by using multiple screens. The first is off ball, and it allows him to get a step on Wes Matthews by the time Zubac comes over for the DHO. Matthews tries to get back to Zoo, so Kawhi just powers through Trez to draw a foul. Then Lou Williams shows some of the best recognition of the night. As he's setting up for a ball screen from PG, he makes a great read by noticing Kennard clearing out. That's dropping Kuzma back deep into the paint. As Schroeder ices this screen, Lou simply penetrates and attacks the opening. He keeps an eye on Trez, realizing more help is coming. It's smart by Lou to continue pushing to the rim, giving Zubac a full and open lane to catch this and finish. Now, things did get ugly for the Clippers in the second quarter as they couldn't buy a basket and committed far too many turnovers. However, some of their process was still really good. Here, again, they get Kawhi on the move with a Zubac screen at the top, and it forces Trez to switch. Also, notice how it causes AD to sink to Zubac to protect the high pass to the roller. Davis is aware of Beverly at the top of the key, but it's still a great shot for the Clippers after collapsing the defense. It misses, but Kawhi is there to pull out one of his better spin moves to get the bucket anyway. Here's another instance of Ibaka's perimeter threat being a valuable and new weapon for the Clippers offense. He catches it after the screen, and Harrell is so worried about it that he closes out hard to force Ibaka to put it on the floor. That's what Ibaka does, and it draws 3 Lakers into the paint. It's very basic reads from that point, and this is how the Clippers are going to get a lot of their outside looks. Most of the time, it will be Marcus Morris in the corner. It's very clear from the 3 preseason games and opening night matchup that Ty Lue wants to get Kawhi moving before his initial on-ball actions. Being able to get the defense moving early in the clock is one of the most underrated aspects of NBA offenses. Here it leads to a LeBron rotation to the corner and then another easy drive and kick scenario. With Gasol rotating to Batum, Ibaka becomes an afterthought and cans the open three. This one isn't that sophisticated, and it doesn't have to be. That's the thing. Simple works, as long as you're giving your superstar a variety of looks. Beverly sets a little cross screen for Kawhi to get moving. It's a contested look, but he's comfortable with these. This one I would call perhaps the best possession of the night when it comes to having proper spacing and a good flow. It starts with a popular action called delay, with the trailing 5 receiving the ball. Then, Batum and Beverly engage in a dribble handoff on the left side of the floor. While that's happening though, take note of the weak side action. The most important component of sound offense is occupying as many defenders as possible. PG is first going to screen Davis, who's guarding Kawhi. Davis and KCP can either choose to switch or have Davis fight through. As Davis gets through, Ibaka is there for the second screen, a very strong pin down on Davis. The Lakers didn't see it coming, so there wasn't much time to have Gasol switch the second one. This is more of the same dribble pitch action to help the Clippers ball handlers get flowing toward the middle. Here it's Luke Kennard who does a good job of keeping Wes Matthews behind him and then decelerating before regaining his balance and taking the shot. Then we see a version of the triangle sets that Lue is trying to implement. When George passes to Batum, he tries to position himself deep into the post against KCP. George gets bumped off his spot, so he decides to clear out to the weak side. Well, take a look at what happens next. Both KCP and Schroeder, who was guarding Beverly in the corner, seem to be concerned about PG. Schroeder just gets confused, and there's no communication between the two. They run into each other, and it opens up the lane for Beverly. For it being the very first game under Ty Lue, without Marcus Morris's shooting and the process of all the new pieces learning how to mesh with the returning players, it was a very quality offensive performance. But the night belonged to Paul George. I've said it since basically April, the tandem of George and Zubac with their ball screen chemistry and cohesion is one of the most dynamic advantages the Clippers have. They were among the best and most efficient screen and roll duos last year, whether that was from George finding Zoo underneath the rim after drawing help defenders, or George simply pulling up like a madman in transition once Zoo clears the space with his large frame. Frankly, it's something George needs to do more of this year. For as high quality of a shooter that he is, with the length he has over most guards picking him up, there should be no reason he's under 10 3-point attempts per game. Then again, Lue does want him to stay just as aggressive when it comes to attacking the rim and not shying away from the contact. Earning trips to the foul line is an underrated way of snapping out of a shooting struggle, and that may be what he needs to focus on throughout the long season. But yeah, you can absolutely expect a lot more of these George-Zubac connections. Regardless if George wants to be used off ball a lot, there aren't many better screen setters that can create him these type of openings. Even if Zoo is coming off the bench, he should still share the floor a lot with George for this reason. By the way, PG was roasting Kuzma in a lot of these actions. That's a self-created 3. We'll see how the Clippers attack Denver in their playoff rematch on Christmas. Until next time, I'm Shane Young. Thanks for watching.